We all know someone like this, right? That person whose birthday is just around the corner. And they seem totally cool with it. No countdown, no big plans. You kind of have to wonder what's really going on in their head.
It's such a funny contrast. On one side, you've got folks with a literal spreadsheet for their birthday week. Outfits, dinners, the whole shebang. And on the other, you've got the person who might actually forget to mention it's their birthday at all.
You know, our gut reaction is often to worry. We think, oh no, are they unhappy? Do they feel like nobody cares? But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if the reason they skip the party isn't a bad thing, but something else entirely?
Okay, so let's just blow up some myths right now. On the left, you see what we think is going on. And on the right, well, that's the psychological reality, which is way more surprising and honestly a lot cooler. As we're about to see, our assumptions are often the exact opposite of the truth.
So let's dig in. We're going to start with the most obvious reason someone might duck out of their own birthday bash. And it has everything to do with that feeling of all eyes being on you. I mean, birthdays are basically one giant spotlight. You're the name on the cake, everyone's singing at you, you're the focus of everything. And for some of us, that spotlight doesn't feel warm and fuzzy. It feels like intense pressure to perform, you know? Like you have to have the perfect, overjoyed reaction to every single thing. And let's be super clear here. This isn't about being shy or having social anxiety. The best way to think about it is like a social battery. For an extrovert, a huge party cranks their battery up to 100%. But for an introvert, it drains it fast, and they need some quiet time to plug back in. They can be totally confident. They just don't run on public attention. Wow. I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? And for some people, that's not even an exaggeration. It just shows that the discomfort is real, it's deep. To them, a surprise party doesn't feel like a gift, it feels like an ambush. Okay, so they don't love the spotlight, that makes sense, but why? Now we're getting to the next layer down. It's not just about what they're avoiding, it's about what they're looking for. And that something is genuine connection. Think about it. So much of a traditional birthday feels like a play. You have your lines. You're supposed to act surprised, open gifts with a certain level of excitement, be on the whole time. If you're someone who really values real, spontaneous moments, that whole performance just feels fake. And honestly, it's exhausting. This just nails the difference, right? It is all about quality over quantity. The goal isn't to get the most happy birthday messages on social media. The goal is to be truly seen by the people who matter. One amazing, deep conversation with a friend can mean so much more than 100 polite hellos in a crowded room. And get this isn't just a random preference. There's a name for it in psychology. It's called having a strong internal locus of control. All that really means is they have a powerful inner compass. They're guided by what feels right to them, not by what society expects. So they're not trying to be difficult, they're just being true to themselves. And here's the bottom line. For these folks, a strong relationship isn't built on one big splashy event a year. It's built on all the small, consistent things. The random check-in text, remembering a tiny detail they told you weeks ago. That's the stuff that really says, I care about you, not a once-a-year party. All right, now this is where things get really, really interesting. We've talked about what birthday minimalists don't want. But what if their lack of interest is actually a sign of something they do have? Something that's incredibly powerful and the total opposite of what you'd expect. I want you to just sit with that question for a sec. Our culture kind of teaches us that wanting a big celebration is a form of self-love. But what if the opposite were true? What if not needing all that external validation is the real power move? Because here's the thing, for a lot of these people, it has absolutely nothing to do with low self-worth or being sad. In fact, many psychologists would say it's a sign of emotional security that, frankly, a lot of us are still working towards. Let that sink in for a moment. The people who absolutely need the huge party, the flood of messages, the public recognition, in many cases, they're the ones who are still looking for proof from the outside world that they're valued. They need that validation because they haven't quite learned how to generate it from within. And this is the superpower they've developed: emotional self-sufficiency. It just means their sense of self-worth is stable. It's not like a stock that goes up or down based on how many people wish them a happy birthday. They've learned how to be their own source of validation, quietly and consistently, every single day. It's such a simple idea, but it's so deep. Their value isn't tied to a date on the calendar. They already know they matter, without needing a cake and a party to prove it to them. So, where does all of this leave us?
Well, it gives us a completely new way to look at not just our birthday-averse friends, but at what celebration even means. Let's pull it all together.
So let's rethink the birthday minimalist. This person isn't sad or antisocial. They might actually be more self assured than most, a champion of authenticity, and a total expert at setting healthy boundaries. They haven't rejected joy, they've just taken control of what it means to them.
And if you remember one thing from this, let it be this right here. It's not a rejection of celebration, it is a redefinition of it. For them, joy isn't some event you schedule on a calendar. It's something you find in the quiet, real, meaningful moments of everyday life.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. In a world that's always shouting about grand gestures and public displays, maybe these quiet people are onto something truly profound. So I'll ask you, where do you find your real moments of celebration? Is it all on one big day? Or is it in all the little moments that make up the other 364?